Wonders, Jeremiah Wonders, Jeremiah Wonders.
Another week, another episode of Jeremiah Wonders. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Have you been enjoying the first few episodes? I think they've been pretty great. I've been really proud of what's been going on. Tony Hinchcliffe, the first episode, Brian Redband, the second episode, Bobby Lee, the third episode, and now Dom Irrera, the legend himself. I got a chance to sit down with him for this episode of Jeremiah Wonders. Thank you guys so much for listening, downloading, however you're getting it. If you haven't yet, please go to iTunes, give me a 5-star rating, leave a review, SoundCloud, all that stuff, Stitcher. Thank you. Appreciate it. Got a good one today. Really pumped about this. Man, Dom is the best. I've known Dom a long time and was very grateful that he carved some time out in his day to do the show. I want to give a few shout-outs right now to the sponsors for this week. Speedweed, first sponsor of the show. Check them out at Speedweed on Twitter or go to speedweed.com if you want some delivery for that ganja, the grade, the sticky, the icky, all that good stuff. Gino's a good dude. He supports shows all over the Comedy Store like Kill Tony and Roast Battle. I've known that guy a long time. Great guy. Hit up Gino at Speedweed. And then my boy Eric over at Meth Syndicate. It's a t-shirt company that's freaking dope. Check out at Meth Syndicate on Instagram. They have been really cool with the goddamn Comedy Jam over the years, and they do all the merch for that show. And he just supplied us with t-shirts for the show, and he's also hooked me up with a bunch of t-shirts over the years of just like, he makes these funny, dope shirts. I can't even like explain it that well, really. You just have to go to at Meth Syndicate. Like, for example, he gave me this shirt that I get complimented all the time that has Guy Fieri on it, but below it says Smash Mouth. And everybody, like half of the people actually know the joke, and then the other people are like, hey man, I dig Smash Mouth. They can't tell the difference between the lead singer of Smash Mouth and Guy Fieri. So, and then he has like an Olive Garden shirt that's a picture of Soundgarden. Just some really funny, unique stuff. So go check that out. Another good friend as well. Got some dates coming up. If you want to see me on the road, February 1 through 3, I'll be in Houston and Dallas with the Kill Tony guys. My boy Patty Reagan, Joel Berg Jimenez, Brian Redband, Tony Hinchcliffe doing Kill Tony shows and doing stand-up. And you may see Pat Reagan and I doing some music stuff on the road there as well. Thursday and Friday, February 15th and 16th, Pat Reagan and I will be doing Reagan Watkins in Boston. On the 15th, we're at the Hideout. On February 16th, we're at Great Scott. And I will post about those shows so you can get info on that. And then March 1 through 3, I'm up in Sacramento featuring for Tony Hinchcliffe doing some stand-up. So definitely some opportunities to see your boy on the road. So check it out. I'll post on Twitter and Instagram at Jeremiah Standup. You got to be following me if you're not. I mean, what are you doing if you're not following me on social media, guys? Reach out to me at Jeremiah Standup. A couple cool things that happened this week. I got to witness one of my favorite people's one-man shows this week. My brother Jamar Neighbors. He's part of the Wave, if you don't know him. We've done comedy together for years, and he did a really cool one-man show at a theater in Hollywood, and I really hope he does another run. He just did it over the weekend. So I want to tell him congrats, and I love the show, and I'm really hoping he puts it out as a special eventually someday. It was cool to see Jamar. Like I know him as mainly a stand-up guy, but to see him do characters in a show that was like over an hour for a one-man show, it was really impressive. It's cool whenever you get inspired by your friends, and I'm lucky to be around a lot of good friends that are very creative and brilliant minds a lot of times. So that's very cool. Another weird thing that happened to me this week, I had a weird set in the Comedy Store original room. I went up like 1:15 in the morning. It's like a Thursday night, And it was just one of those kind of rowdy crowds. And I brought an audience member up on stage and I wrestled him on stage. And our piano player, resident piano player Jeff Scott, he filmed it on like a flip cam and sent it to me. So I might upload that to Instagram later this week. So maybe look out for that. I just watched it. It's pretty ridiculous. So that's one way that I dealt with the heckler is I just like, you want to wrestle? And he was like, yes, I do. I have this fan that keeps hitting me up. His name is Stan. Let's listen to what he has to say. He keeps hitting me up. I don't know what he wants to talk about this time. Dear Jeremiah, you're great on Kill Tony. When you hosted, I thought it was gold, especially the segments with Red Band. Mainly though, your new podcast Jeremiah Wonders is so freaking funny. It has made me laugh harder than any podcast in a while. The characters are such a great idea. I look forward to so much future laughs from them, and the spontaneous jumps from serious to joking are fantastic. Go longer though, man. You've got the stuff for it. Thank you for doing what you do. Rock on, and again, you rock. Your boy Stan. JK, this is Hunter Priest. Thank you, Hunter Priest, for writing into the show. To answer your question about going longer, I enjoy trying to keep podcasts under an hour, and also this podcast takes a long time to produce and edit, so I'm trying to keep down my time as much as possible because it still takes me at least 6 to 8 hours per episode to end up producing and mixing and all that stuff. So I'm trying to make it as high quality for you guys as possible. So I'd rather you be wanting a little bit more than for me to go too long. That makes sense? Today's episode I did on location. The audio is a little bit wonky in some areas because I had to remove some buzz from a cord that kind of went bad halfway through the podcast. So if you're listening on headphones, you might notice it, or you may not notice at all. Maybe I shouldn't have said anything, but I figured I'd be open with you guys. Really excited for this episode. If you want to write into the show just like Hunter Priest did, email your boy Jeremiah Watkins at gmail.com. That is Y-O-U-R, boy, Jeremiah Watkins at gmail.com. And without further ado, I present to you the legend, Dom Irrera. Hello. Welcome back to Jeremiah Wonders. Guess who I've got with me right now? It's Dom Irrera.
Are you serious?
It's the Dom Irrera.
How did you get him?
I don't know. I called him, and he was nice enough to say, I'll be there tomorrow.
Wow. That's a friend.
That's a good friend right there.
That's a friend who loves you and your beloved.
Didn't even give you the guy let me look at my calendar real quick.
Yeah, right. Meanwhile, he was sleeping on it.
Falls right back asleep. Yeah, Dom and I are we're recording at the Laugh Factory right now. The prestigious Laugh Factory.
This place is buzzing. Look at that. Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis statues. Way to keep your finger on the pulse of what's happening today in comedy.
And Dom and I are pretty dimly lit right now. This is probably the most romantic podcast I've ever done.
Do you want to get a cappuccino?
Sure.
Split it?
Sounds great. Right down the middle. 2 straws. Well, better make it 1. So good to have you on the show, Dom. I've been wanting to get you on, so I'm excited that you're here, man. You've been busy. You just wrapped up season 1 of I'm Dying Up Here on Showtime.
See, well, actually, we're in the season 2 now.
Yeah. Have you
10 more?
Have you started shooting?
They started. I start on February 8th. When's this go up?
Monday, so it'll be out before the end of January.
Monday, I'll be in Vegas that Monday, Tuesday, Monday and Tuesday, and then I come back and shoot.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's nice, Lauren. You're just in Tampa, right?
I was in Tampa. Ask me how I did.
Hey, Tom, how'd you do?
I don't want to talk about it because then it'll seem like I'm bragging.
No, Dom, please tell me.
All right. I crushed, I killed. I always love those guys. I crushed, I killed. When you going back? He said I wasn't right for the club. I was too strong.
Made the other performers look weak.
Yeah.
Didn't want to make them feel bad.
Not fair to the locals. So this will be on before the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Well, you got a prediction?
unfortunately probably going to be the Patriots again.
Well, that's not unfortunate. They're good. I mean, I'm from Philly, but
I just like a little spice.
A lot of people
you know?
do. Yeah, I like to mix it. Well, they had their losses. They lost against the Giants twice.
Yeah. Boo-hoo for them.
Yeah, poor Tom Brady. Ooh,
It's so upsetting.
What a rotten life he has.
Right? Speaking of us being at the Laugh Factory, I think that's where you and I first did a show together, was at the Las Vegas Laugh Factory. I opened for you.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Yeah, like probably, man, that was probably 5 or 6 years ago.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Oh, you go Vault. You'd think we'd have more material by now.
Right? Doing the same act.
Jamie said to me at one time, he thought it was a compliment. He goes, I got to say, buddy, sometimes you do the same jokes over and over, but they're always different. Thank you, Jamie.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for that compliment.
For the strangest compliment I've ever received. I remember I was hosting whenever I was bringing Dom up, and I was bringing him to the stage, giving him this nice intro, and the bit that I closed with this bit where I was humping the stool on the floor, right. And the first thing that Dom gets on stage is like, you know what? I don't see him as much of a performer. I see him as more of a writer.
He wrote that bit of humping that stool. Well, a lot of guys are humping stools now. I'm not saying you're not original in your thoughts and your procedure towards the material, but a lot of guys, I remember when Rogan did it. I remember a lot of guys started doing it, and then they, they started humping anything on stage or near the stage and fucking the air, But have you seen it a lot?
You know what? Whenever I actually wrote that bit, and this was a while ago, is almost making fun of that style of comedy because that was a huge thing, like in the 90s for sure. Like there was like, if there was a stool on stage, that stool was getting humped.
Right. Well, I like to watch Brian Callen because you know how sexy he thinks he is.
Oh,
I love
so
Brian.
Great.
But he looks at the audience after he humped it like, how'd you like a little bit of that?
Huh? You want a piece of this? You want
me
to break it off?
Old swivel hips, huh?
Huh? You into that? And I did this one bit another night where I was making fun of 80s comedians, how they lean into their punchlines and do physical act outs with it. And you walked on stage and you go, what does that hook-nosed Jew bastard know about the 80s? Nothing.
I said that? I just love when you're right about that cadence. It was almost like a Richard Belzer kind of cadence. And I'm thinking, hey, babe, why don't you go take a walk down the, Dennis Miller and Richard, and the great comedians, but they did have that cadence.
Right. What year did you get to Los Angeles?
1942. 87.
1940. It was a different time.
It was the summer of 82. I remember the people begging me to get in show business. Everybody wanted me to be a comic. Did you get that when you were a kid? That they thought you should be a comedian? I didn't really get show business people begging me. My family. Yeah,
family. They loved whenever I would do like impressions or like little act outs or voices for their friends or whatever like that. Yeah.
Well, you do impressions too, right?
Yeah.
We should say that we're on Kill Tony together a bunch of times, because when I started it, you weren't there.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. What you've done, Kill Tony, which is for people who don't know, is Tony Hinchcliffe's podcast. He does weekly live at the Comedy Store, and is basically a panel of comedians, and they help open micers tweak jokes or give them advice,
or they bust their chops,
or they just bust their chops. Now you've done that show a lot, and you did it before I joined like the band, like the kind of late night band. There. It was just Pat. Do you feel like the show's evolved a lot over like the last couple of years?
Yeah, I think it's more comfortable. I just think that my only problem with it, and I've told you this before, is that I can't see everybody down the line when I'm sitting there, and I don't want to step on anybody else's lines, or I don't want them to step on my lines. But you can't, that's the hard part, like competing to get airtime. But it's a great show. I mean, I think he's a terrific host. But I understand I missed the one that you hosted because you want to bet.
Oh yeah, that was so fun. Yeah, we called it Kill Jeremiah and everything. I'll tell you what, it was the most I've ever seen Tony not like be able to collect his cool. Like I got underneath his skin
Really?
so hard because I was hosting like his baby, you know,
yeah,
like
yeah.
and I was tweaking with the format and stuff, and he was just like looking at me like, dude, what are you doing to my show?
Why would he even offer that?
Well, I won this bet of this. We did this weight gain challenge in the month of December.
Oh, right, you were telling me.
Yeah, so I gained 30 pounds, and he only gained 3.5 pounds.
Wow.
So I got to host his show, and if I would have lost, he would have shaved my head live on Kill Tony.
Yeah, but that's not as bad. You'll have your hair back in 2 months.
Yeah, yeah.
He has to live forever with the fact that you hosted a show and did a good job.
It was
live
fun.
with that.
Live with that, Tony Hinchcliffe. You hear that? Actually, I think we have a caller calling in. Hello?
Really?
Caller?
Hello, Dom. It's me, Tony Hinchcliffe. Wanted to call you and ask you why you're siding with Jeremiah.
Oh, no, Tony, I'm not. It's just part of the show. And how did you get this? We're recording it now.
No, I know that there's a number at the Laugh Factory. I was patched through.
Son of a bitch. I should have known. If anybody would figure it out, it was him.
Yes, it's me, one of the top young rising comedians in the world.
Yeah, you mentioned that quite a bit.
Yes. Dom, what's it like being an underling to me, Tony Hinchcliffe?
Well, that's different. I got to tell you, Tony.
You would never want to follow me, Dom.
I usually get, I usually do shows with the paid regulars.
I am a paid regular.
Oh, sorry, Tony.
You
Yeah.
buffoon.
We just lost him. I don't know where he went.
I don't know.
He dropped the call.
That's so weird.
That's so strange.
How did he know? How did he know where we were?
How did he know to be able to call in?
Son of a bitch. Well, I love the fact that the people are supposed to do a minute. This is we're talking about Kill Tony now.
Yeah.
And a lot of them do like 35, 40 seconds. They go, oh, was that a minute? They can't even do a freaking minute.
And that's such a common thing on the show too.
Yeah.
Is you think like, okay, it's a minute, that's gonna fly by, but so many comics, they just don't time it right, or they're nervous that they're gonna run over, and they're so afraid to reach the end that they're like,
Yeah. So
is
just
that
stop
done?
when the cat, comes on.
Yeah, exactly.
Are you going to do this like at Montreal or anything? This would be a great thing for you to take up there.
I don't know. It's a newer show. Started at the beginning of the year because people kept asking me on Kill Tony. They kept tweeting at me and stuff like, when are you going to put out your own podcast? So yeah, we'll see.
One final thing about the Kill Tony experience. Did you ever tell your audience about the fight?
We haven't talked about it on this podcast yet, but Dom was a part of probably one of my favorite things that has happened on the show just because it was so bizarre. But I'd love to hear you recall it because...
Well, we're doing a Kill Tony from Austin for the Moon Tower Comedy Festival. And, people were coming up. It just seemed rather normal. Then this guy comes up who's really messed up. And he's swaying, and I got up just when he started swaying because I knew he could fall on me. I didn't realize he could hit one of us. But you started. My best recollection was, everybody like bust chops, and you were one of the busted chops. And why he picked on you? Maybe he wanted to go after the biggest guy or something and show that he was macho. But he actually came after you physically. And that was the first time I ever saw you even perturbed at all.
Yeah, I had to puff my chest out a little bit.
You did.
But he was also, my saxophone was possibly in danger too, so I held that away from me. So,
Right. So I don't mind getting bruised myself, but nobody fucks with my horn.
Yeah, exactly. That's what a bunch of the comments were on YouTube. Is like, he doesn't even care about his face. He's holding his saxophone away.
Oh, they saw it. That's right.
Yeah, I posted that video online.
Yeah, did they get a lot of hits?
It's like in the 90,000s.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's funny because a lot of people had no idea about my comedy before that video came out, and that was just one of those videos that circled around the comedy community. It was like, you got to see this. This is just a weird
You really do have to see that, yeah.
thing that happened. And we found out the guy was drunk and on mushrooms. So,
and by the way, I saw him a half an hour later getting thrown out of another place.
What?
And he waved to me like, hey, what are you going to do? maybe it's not my night. Yeah, the girl that I was with, that blonde, I don't know if you remember her, but we went down. We were early for the party, so we went and just sat in the back. And he was already there. He already started trouble before the party started that night. And by the way, he's an open micer in Austin.
Yeah. Oh, and I think we have another phone call.
You're kidding.
Yeah, I think. Is this is this Kyle from the episode of Kill Tony? Is this my arch nemesis from Austin?
Hey, dude, yeah, man. I really, I didn't mean to, and whatnot, but I just got a little bit carried away. But, I was hoping maybe if you could put in a word for me anywhere, at any time, I would appreciate it. Because I'm out of work right now. I don't know why. Fuck them. I'll kill them. But, if you could help me, that'd be cool.
You want me to vouch for you after you tried to attack me?
No, dude, man, that was like an act. That's not the me that you would know and love at breakfast. This is like the me, like after last call, that's drinking people's half drunk glasses. It's a whole different me.
Well, how do I know that you're not going to show up drunk or on mushrooms to another gig?
Because I'm telling you, duh. I mean, listen to me, man. I think, and maybe I'm out of line here, that we should start a comedy team, you and I.
Wait, you want to take this act on the road?
What act? Oh, you mean, whoa.
You mean you attacking me? That's what you're considering taking on the road?
Every show we close with a different way of attacking you. Like I do a Bowie knife thing, I do a cross. Listen, man, that's not funny.
Sorry, I'm trying to.
I do like a crossbow thing, and a hatchet.
You've got a lot of weapons. I don't know if I feel safe talking to you anymore.
Did you see my weed?
Okay, we lost the call, Dom. I don't know what. I don't know.
Fuck, what was that?
I had to disconnect him.
Is
I was
that really
getting a
that
little
guy?
I think it was really that guy.
Holy shit.
Dude, I don't know what his deal was. Who suggests ending every show with a fight? He kind of scared me when he brought up the hatchet.
Yeah, it's a little weird. Well, you're not going back to Austin this year, are you?
I am actually.
Oh, you are?
Dude, if he shows up, I don't even know.
He's definitely gunning for you. But man, you know what? You can hope that he's like clean.
Hopefully.
I've been sober for 88 days.
Somebody, that's still kind of recent. Somebody told me that he came out to the Comedy Store and they'd kick him out of the Comedy Store out here in LA.
After that?
Yeah.
Wow.
Which I was like, that kind of creeped me out a little bit.
Well, I don't know why I leaned into that. Like some other character was going to come out of me. Oh, that's fun. When was this?
That was like literally within a month after it happened in May of 2017.
Well, I imagine he was pretty upset because it's such a small community, and if you burn your bridges in a community like that, you're done.
Yeah.
I mean, in L.A. or New York, you could find some place to perform, but out, in Austin, I don't think.
Pretty slim pickings as far as the spots.
Speaking of slim pickings,
did you
ever see Blazing Saddles?
Yeah.
You know that bit where how like prejudiced all the things they say and racist things. The funniest thing to me was he comes out, and it was the slaves and the Chinese, and they were all slaves, and the white cowboys that were taking their masters, and they were trying to sing a song. And they sang something, and they didn't know it. Then they got one song like "Camptown Lady," sing that song.
Yeah,
Camptown Lady,
sing that song,
do that.
Yeah.
Right? They were singing it and they're dancing, and Slim Pickens pulls up and he shoots his gun in the air. He goes, "What in the wide world of sports are you doing? I put you out here to lay some rail. You end up dancing like a bunch of Kansas City faggots." Right? And I just thought to myself, why is that so funny? I don't even know what it means.
There's some jokes that you don't know what they mean, but immediately you're like, this is one of the funniest things I've ever heard.
It's so what's a Kansas City faggot? Is there like
hello, I'm from Kansas City.
I know. But I know you got a beautiful wife.
Yeah, you actually we had a really nice dinner the other night. We loved that, man. Dom took us out to dinner for a little wedding present for
anytime
me and my
your
wife.
kids get married, I'm there for you. Either one of you.
However many marriages you do, I'll take you out to eat each time. Yeah, we had a great time at an Italian place called Aga, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was great. So when you're coming out to Los Angeles, who were some of the first comics that you met, and what were some of the first? Did you go to the store right away whenever you came to LA? Did you go to the Laugh Factory, Improv, or did you start hitting all of them?
Well, my connection was with the Improv because I was from the Improv in New York. But
so you knew Bud Friedman from out there?
He left before I got there. I knew him a little bit. But the Comedy Store, I always wanted to perform there. And I performed and I passed the audition. right?
Was that from Mitzi Shore?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I was a paid regular. Boom, it was like so easy. It was too easy to be true, and which ended up happening. So I go back to New York, and all my friends go, "How'd it go out there?" I said, "Well, I passed." They go, "You passed the first time?" I go, "Yeah, that's cool, huh? Yeah, man, it's great, right?" So I'm feeling it. I'm feeling my. And I go back, and the next time I go back, she totally forgot me. Totally forgot who I was. I had to audition again, and then I passed that time, and then she remembered me.
Wow.
But you imagine, like, you know, hey, oh yeah, I passed it, no big deal. Then I go, she doesn't fucking remember me. Holy shit! I thought I thought I was wonderful. I thought I made an impression. Apparently not. But
I think we have another phone call.
You're kidding.
Hello? Who's this?
Hi, is this Dom Irrera? It's
Mitzi?
Me. It's me, Mitzi.
Hi, Mitz.
Hey. Sorry I forgot about you that one time. I see a lot of comics.
No, I understand. It was very hurtful at the time.
Yeah. So how's the career going since then?
Good. I did the Rodney Dangerfield special in 1987, and since then I haven't worked. But I just feel it like it's right around the corner for me.
Yeah, keep grinding, okay, Dom?
Hey, thanks for calling, Mitz.
Yeah, not a problem.
Say hi to your sons
I will.
and Sandy, sure.
Dude, Mom, who's that? Get off the phone, Polly.
I guess Polly's over there right now.
Yeah.
Huh.
Well, yeah. Oh, I got to tell you what happened the first time I did the Tonight Show. So, because of the question you asked me about the improv and the Comedy Store,
Yeah.
the first time I did the Tonight Show, here's my introduction. I said they said he started out in New York at the Improv, and then he moved out here, and you could see him at the Comedy Store on Saturday night in the main room. So I was getting a main room spot and plugging it, right? So how cool is that? And everybody, I plugged the Improv. I'm probably the only comic that ever plugged both those clubs at once.
Yeah.
So then I get a call from one of the managers at the Improv, all pissed off that I didn't plug the West Coast Improv. I go, I did the best I could. I said, if I say improv and these from New York, if they're out here, they're not gonna go, well, that's not the New York one.
Yeah.
So anyway, he was all pissed off.
So you got heat because you're trying to
trying to please
pacify
everybody.
everybody. Yeah.
So you know what I did? I said the magic words. Bud Friedman had a meeting with me, and he was trying to, admonish me and tell me how bad I was and how ungrateful I was. I said, I'll tell you what, Bud. Mitzi is paying my rent right now. She's giving me a living. She had Honolulu, Las Vegas, San Diego, and here, right? And Westwood. And I says, if you can pay me what she pays me, I'll never do the store again. Knowing I was going to call his bluff. You know what he did? He put his arm around me. He goes, Dom, we always forgive around here. When it comes to money.
When it comes to money, people change their tune pretty
Right.
quickly. Wow. So what who were some of the comics in your class around that time? Like whenever you came to LA, like who were the guys who you were going up after, or that you had to follow, or you had to go up before, like at the store or the Improv?
Well, Roseanne, Sam Kennison, Dice Clay, bunch of like a lot of TV stars. I mean, Pryor was I barely saw him healthy. Just like a glimpse of him.
Mm-hmm.
Rodney Dangerfield, Jackie Mason were the old timers then, and Arsenio Hall and people like that were the new kids. It's funny because Joe Rogan said to me, "This is the hottest the store's ever been." I said, "Actually, Joe, it's very hot, but I've seen it pretty hot. I came out here." And he goes, "No, this is the hottest." I go, "Joe, you weren't even there. How can you tell me when I was there?" And he kind of looked at me like, "Oh, maybe he's right."
Now, when you were going, because now that you've seen it now, because it's been very hot lately, and then compared to back then, did you feel like it was something special while it was going on, or were you kind of unaware at the time? Like you're like, "Oh, this is just kind of how it is," and then until after the fact.
I didn't know until after the fact, until when it started going down. And I remember being at the Laugh Factory, and Jamie, and I was doing all three clubs, and Jamie would say, the Laugh Factory would be packed, and he would say, "Go down to the Comedy Store. They got a great show. There's plenty of room." And because him and Mitzi were friends, where Bud and Mitzi were enemies.
Yeah.
And that's what that show, that show that I have a recurring character on, I'm Dying Up Here. It's based on that time in the 70s in Hollywood.
Is it weird to kind of be playing a version of probably a comic that you knew back in that era now? Is that kind of strange?
Yeah.
Kind of surreal for you?
Yeah.
Because they put you in a wig. They like
I know.
made you all like 70s looking for that role.
Yeah, I mean, that was before I was a stand-up, but I was in an improv group then, and we were all sitting on my roof. We went up to rehearse. We went to rehearse our improvs, make sure they were nice and tight. And I remember them reading out of the Village Voice about the comedian who killed himself, and I went, man, this stand-up's, maybe it's tougher than I thought.
Yeah.
Fucking guys jumping off buildings, trying to hit another building. What the hell's that about? You know. But you know why I came out here? Because my goal was to have somebody fly me out here, and I did Star Search, a show that was way before your time, way, you know, it was the early '80s, and that they flew me out, and I was so excited that somebody flew me, that I didn't have to come out with a picture and resume going, you know, I was in Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead, and I was the rabbi and fiddler on the roof, you don't know how little they give a shit about that, you know.
Wow, that's wild. Do you you've worked with you've worked with pretty much everybody like in the last, you know,
comedians?
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Who are a handful that stand out to you? Like whenever you perform with them for the first time, you're like, "Whoa, this guy or this lady is something special." Like you could just tell right away, like, "Oh, this person's gonna be big."
Well, you knew Roseanne had it. You saw it right away. She had a point of view. She was very strong. She was a woman who was not a lesbian. She was a housewife, you know, just different. Like a lot of the women were lesbians then, and they were kind of tougher because they had to be more masculine to compete with the men. You know, it's tough. I mean, it's still tough for women, but now there's some. I don't know if you've noticed, and I know you're married, but you can still see. There's so many really hot-looking girls that are also funny.
I feel like that's definitely got to be a new trend, right?
Oh yeah,
yeah. Yeah, I mean, back in the day, they were real sacks of potatoes with lipstick on.
Oh God, I think she's coming towards me.
Oh yikes!
No, but yeah,
but she's got a tight five.
I don't want to name names, but I don't mind naming today's names, like Kate Quigley and Eleanor Kerrigan and Jessie Mae Pelusa. I mean, they're all very
funny.
Pretty,
and they're very funny.
Yeah. And me, by this time next year, I slipped.
Whoops!
I slipped with the surprise.
Are we putting out that Speedo calendar? Are you and I doing that still?
Yeah, I just want to gain a little more weight, you know, so we're before and after. Do you still have that weight on? Because I can't tell.
I lost 15 of it. Yeah. So
what do you weigh now?
Right around 180. So I got pretty thin and in shape right before I did that.
You crushed him in that.
Oh, I crushed him.
That's funny.
Yeah.
He never expected it, did he?
I don't know. People say that they thought that at some points that he knew that I was going to win and that he kind of gave up. But he tells me, he swears that he was trying and that he just literally can't gain weight. Like Rogan told me, he's like Tony is an ectomorph. His body cannot gain weight. He is very skinny. You know, he's like going down the reasons why. And he's like, you are a mesomorph. You are able to gain weight. You have a little bit thicker frame. You'll be able to crush him in this. But yeah.
Joe's funny. You know, one thing about Joe is his thirst for knowledge never subsides.
Yeah.
I mean, he really is. Not only is he smart, but he's always trying to fill his mind with more information. He really questions things, you know.
Yeah, it's really fascinating, like how
I think that's a big part of he's so popular because of that.
Well, yeah, it's kind of interesting to see that he can hold his own in a conversation with brilliant people that are scientists or masters of their field. He researches enough where he knows the terms and how basically to talk with them rather than like, so what's this science stuff all about?
Right, yeah.
That's not an interesting interview. You're like, oh, this guy has no idea.
Yeah, he does come loaded with facts and knowledge about the subject, definitely.
Yeah. What was your, like, outside of the Tonight Show, was like coming on Seinfeld and doing some other sitcoms? Or is that some of your first breaks that you would consider?
Well, Rodney Dangerfield's special was by far the biggest break, bigger than the Tonight Show, bigger than anything.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have my own special, and that won an ACE Award, which would be winning today's Emmy Award for Best Comedy Special.
Wow.
So that was a pretty big deal, and that helped me get work and fill up places and all that.
When did that top 100 comics list come out?
I don't know. I know that I was number 79, and I was furious. Felt like I should have been 78. Cedric the Entertainer cheated. I'll say it now. I'll say it to Cedric. If you're out there, you stole from me, Cedric. That was like really kind of one of those just stamps of approval. I mean, to me, it was like ridiculous to pick up. I mean, to show you how silly it was, the last two of the 100 were Janine Garofalo and Dice Clay, right? Now, first of all, Dice Clay, like him or not, he's a legitimate act. Janine Garofalo is just like a comedy wannabe, has that kind of, I'm hipper than you. I may not be that funny, but I'm so hip it doesn't matter, Anyway, that contest was funny because I was hosting the show about the show on Comedy Central, and the hosts were me and Mario Joyner, a black man, Greg Giraldo, a very white Harvard grad lawyer, Judy Gold, tall, wonderfully funny lesbian, and I guess that was it. Yeah, the four of us, right?
Yeah.
And I was the only one that was actually in the top 100 of the four. So they hated everybody of their ilk. Judy hated the women. Sure. Mario hated the black guys. And Greg hated the white intellectuals. Me, I loved everybody. No, but it was just so funny to be on that side of it.
Oh, we got another caller.
Get out.
Yeah.
Hey, Dom Irrera. Hey, fellow Italian here, big fan of yours. Really proud of you for making a top 100 list of
Thanks.
greatest
Who is this?
comedians of all time.
Thanks. Do I know you?
Yes, my name is Mendini.
Mendini.
Mendini Ferrello.
It doesn't ring a bell. A bellow.
We used to play the golf together.
The golf?
The golf.
Do you have?
Like the poker, the golf.
Like a sea golf?
Yes.
Oh, well, thanks for calling in, man. How you doing?
I'm doing very well.
I heard you had some rough times. You were accused of certain things I don't want to talk about on the show, but it's good to see you're out.
Yes, my wife grew ill, but thanks to you, your comedy brought her back to life, Dom Irrera.
Wow, you got more Italian.
Yes.
It's amazing.
Yes.
Well, thank you for
Every
calling.
time I watch your comedy, more Italian.
Wow, how come you get louder, too?
I'm very excited to see you, Dom Irrera.
Wow.
I mean, call you. We're not on the Skype. What is this? Come on.
Well, you kid around even with yourself. That's how much you love kidding around.
There it is again.
That was it?
Yeah, the funny juice. It pours out of you, Dom.
Yeah, it's a gift. Thank you. I mean, you know what? I have a guy that you might be interested in being a comedy team with. He lives in Austin, Texas.
Will you put me through to him?
Yeah, I'll put you through. I'll hook you up. We have him on one line. That's how popular he is with us. Thanks for calling.
Well, let me patch them through to the other line. Let me see if you can patch your caller, and maybe I'll be able to patch Mendini through with Kyle.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Hello, I'm looking for the comedy stylings of Kyle.
Well, who is this, man?
It's a Mendini.
It's a Mendini?
Mendini is my name.
Oh, yeah, I got some kind of foodborne allergy from that shit. Hey, man, I'm not supposed to be on the phone because my mother is cleaning my room.
You still live at your home with your mother?
Well, they live with me, actually, but it's their house. But I take care of them. I hit them, and I like to strangle them in the morning. I love my family. Anyway, thanks for calling. I got to go back to rehab.
You called me. This is crazy.
Are we looks like we dropped both of those.
Thanks for calling. Jeez.
He called.
Wacko.
Wow. I think the two of them, I mean, maybe they should tour together because that was a mess.
Yeah. He was weird, Mendini, because he kept going in and out with his inflection.
Yeah. Like sometimes it was almost like an Italian caricature.
And then he turned into like Count Dracula or something. It's
so strange.
I got a one for you.
Let's do this next segment. It's called Fanning Out.
Fanning out. Questions from fans.
I asked the Twitterverse if they could ask you any question at all, what would they ask you? And this one comes from @TingTingRingo. What's it been like to ride the comedy wave over the decades of your career? Have you adapted your approach, or is it your natural outlook that allowed you to remain hilarious and relevant?
Stop it. You know what I think helps me is the fact that I hang out with young guys like Jeremiah here, and I get the rhythm of their humor. You know, you just you can't help that if you're hanging out with friends. And one thing, I've never gotten stuck in my time. You know, I never wanted to be like a comedian of the 80s or whatever. I just wanted to be funny, relevant to today. So does that make sense?
No, definitely. Also, you go up more than even a lot of younger working comics. You know what I mean? Like, you're up like pretty much every single night doing spots.
It's the only way I can get material because I'm not really a good writer. I'm a better improver. So I try and, improvise it. And if I can get something out of it, great.
Do you usually go up with like kind of bullet points and then you kind of work it out like and write it on stage?
Yeah. I mean, I have like 2 or 3. See, what I like in these 15-minute sets, I want these people they came in from, Kansas City or some other fag haven. No, but they came in from out of town. They're excited about being at the store. So I don't want to just sit there with a notebook and try stuff out. What I want to do is have like a solid act that'll entertain them for 10 of the minutes, and then 5 of the minutes, new stuff woven in with it,
Mm-hmm. Totally. This next question is from @vulgar_psycho. Is this new comedy / Netflix special boom in the last couple of years good or bad for comedy? And would you be interested in doing another special?
Well, I'm not that interested in doing another special because I just don't have the motivation, if that makes sense. Like, I really, people are trying to tell me, you sell merchandise. I go, no, I don't. I'm tired. I don't feel like fucking selling merchandise. I don't want to sell bada boom, bada bing t-shirts. I threw out, like, I gave away all my CDs or DVDs rather. I just gave them away because I couldn't take it, like getting change and all. And I made, I don't want to be a jerk about it, but I've made enough money. So if you don't need money, I mean, all it is artistic, trying to be creative and,
Yeah, I think, what's interesting? Oh, wow, the lines are lighting up. We actually have a caller on the line. Is this the Bada Boom, Bada Bing t-shirt creator? Is this?
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, Dom was just kind of ragging on, the idea of selling merch with catchphrases on it. Bada boom, bada bing. Is you're the creator of that though, right?
Yeah, I did bada boom, bada bing. I did Joey Bag of Donuts.
You're the Joey Bag of Donuts t-shirt guy?
I did that. When Dom did that thing, Jimmy the Woman.
Jimmy the Woman. That's one of my favorite bits.
That was in his act. I did that all. I sold all kinds of shit. I had culottes. Well, culottes are very clever because they're like a skirt, but you can open your legs wide because you can't. It's really like short pants.
Yeah, it's
clever, isn't it?
It is clever.
Like you just open up yourself like you're getting air down there. You know what I mean? But really, it doesn't matter because it's not against the law or any of that particular shit.
The Christian school that I went to growing up, the women had to wear culottes.
Oh, that's hot.
Yeah. Oh, you're into that?
Well, yeah, because you're really not looking at anything. You're looking at a piece of cloth over something, but it gives you the illusion of looking at something. Like the not for one of a medical term, the twaddle area, as we used to call it in Catholic grade school.
Just use your imagination, right?
Yeah, think about what it might look like, that bearded clam. I can't believe I said that. I hate myself. Can we go back to Dom? He's funny.
Wait, no, I want to talk to you for just a second longer.
Are you sure?
Yeah. I've got a couple more questions. Do you have any other products that you want to plug? Because this podcast goes out to a lot of people. Do you have any other products that you want to plug on the show?
Well, I got this thing called Guido Foam.
Guido Foam?
Guido Foam, which looks exactly like the male sperm.
Okay.
Yeah, and I spray that all over the house. People seem to love it.
So it's fake semen.
It's not really jizz juice or whatever the medical term is for that. But it's quite a product. I dabble in a lot of other things,
You sound like quite the inventor. Guido Foam, the Bada Boom, Bada Bing t-shirt.
Well, Oh,
the
yeah.
Jersey woman.
I got to thank Dom for letting me do this. You know, he didn't care. He doesn't care about anything. He cares about you and your wife.
It's more product for you to sell, right? Since Dom's not competing.
I got a little tuberculosis. I'll be fine.
He dropped the call. I don't know.
Oh, son of a bitch.
Wow.
Hey, thanks for calling, brother.
Well,
Cuz.
that's very interesting.
Oh, man, there's my mic.
Dom, that was quite the phone call that we just received from that guy.
Well,
Did he make you change your opinion at all?
Well, kind of, yeah. I guess
You think
he
you should
was
start selling
influential.
merch now, right?
No, but I think it's nice to help people that don't have acts or the creativity that you or I have.
Oh, this next question comes from @TheRealRoaming. What's the first joke you wrote you were proud of? I like that question a lot.
My first joke that I was proud of was two. One dirty and one clean. The dirtier one was I was a bouncer at a bar, and the bouncer, me, in Philadelphia called Doc Watkins, and the bartender was beautiful. And I said to her, well, you want to sleep with me tonight? She looked at me, smiling. I guarantee any woman 3 screaming orgasms a night. I don't know what she does, but I scream like a little bitch in heat. That was the joke. My first dirty. My other joke was I was doing a show called All My Children, which was a soap opera, and I was playing an under 5, and an under 5 means you have under 5 lines, right? And I wrote, my father never cheated on my mother. My father left home when I was in 2nd grade. He never cheated on my mother. He used to cheat on me, pick up other kids after school, take them to the zoo, take them to play ball. One day he came to me and he says, look, I got to love with you. I met another kid. For the first time in my life, I feel like a real father. That was my first joke.
That's great. This next question, it comes from @TrevorCavillo. If a male cat rubs your leg and it turns you on, does that make you gay?
Absolutely. Gayer than you could possibly ever dream to be. If you get a boner from a cat, you're not only gay, but you're sick gay.
I think we have a caller that's trying to get in right now. Hello? Who's this?
Meow. It's me.
Philippe?
Yes, your kitty cat.
Wow.
Hi.
You have such a great speaking voice for a cat.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for calling. I didn't know you listened to these kinds of shows.
I love Jeremiah's podcast.
See, I would think you would listen to Discovery and stuff like that,
No, I'm more of
National Geographic.
I'm more of an auditory listener and learner.
Oh, I see. Cool.
So, Dom.
What?
When I rubbed against your leg the other day, what sensation did you feel?
I felt loved. I felt used, which I love. And I felt like there was a possibility of maybe rubbing a little other places, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Why am I on the phone?
I don't know. You hopped in on the phone call. Because we're at the same house right now.
Oh, right, cool.
I don't know what happened.
That was weird.
Philippe the cat just
Yeah.
patched in. Then you patched in for a second.
First cat I ever loved.
First cat you ever loved. The one that got away. Last question. Wow. This is a real question that somebody really wanted to ask you. @Jarrett Nez, do you have a favorite diarrhea story?
Well, I don't know if it's diarrhea or just a wet fart, but I was going to school. It was in 2nd or 3rd grade. I was going to school, and it was the first time. I never knew about wet farts, and I farted, and I could feel the moisture, and I went, uh-oh, and I just pinched my ass together, and I held it the rest of the morning and went home and had my underwear changed by a group of adults.
I love the phrase on that. Now, this was before I knew about the world of wet farts. I was never introduced to that emporium.
I was never privy.
I was never privy to that knowledge. And then my world turned upside down when the fart that I thought was dry became a moist, wet, wild one.
I would never have blasted it like that. I blasted it with total confidence.
Did you used to do that in class? Were you that kid that farted in class?
No. Matter of fact, when I taught school, they used to rat kids out. Mr. Irrera, Thomas Grayson farted. Thomas, can I talk to you for a second? And he'd be like, yes, Mr. Irrera. I said, well, you can stop farting in class. Raise your hand. Tell me. I'll let you go outside and you can do whatever you want. I'm sorry, Mr. Irrera. I couldn't help it. I had beans for breakfast. Yeah.
So you used to teach.
Yes, I did.
How many years did you teach?
3.
And what were the subjects that you taught?
Everything. I taught everything. I was a genius. No, I taught everything. I only taught the dumb kids in math because I was one of them. Other than that, I taught, regular classes.
Yeah. Was that a weird Were you doing comedy while?
No, I was acting at night. I was doing some theater.
Yeah. Was that hard to balance the two?
No, I just had a lot of energy. I was playing in basketball leagues. I was just working. I did a lot. We hardly made any money teaching. Mm-hmm. It's Catholic school. We
do a there's like a comedy league for basketball right now, and
I wish I could play with you, man.
I wish you could play too. That'd be so fun. I
can't in my present condition.
Come on, Dom.
Fat, old, ugly, and slow.
Come on, box me out, Dom.
I can't box anybody out.
Well, this brings us to our final segment, Sax Talk. Oh, Sax Talk.
Uh-oh.
So this is what's going to go down. I'm going to play sax underneath you while...
Which mic should I speak in?
You can talk in that mic, the one that you have right now. Basically, I'm going to play some sax underneath a story of a sexual encounter you had. It can be when you lost your virginity. It can be any sexual escapade, and I'm going to sax it up underneath you.
Oh, yeah. It was one of those nights, those hot, muggy summer Philadelphia nights. I had a regular girl who would come down from New York to service me. This was before AIDS. We weren't afraid of anything. I used to eat chlamydia for breakfast. With a side order of herpes. We didn't care. Nothing. So me and this babe, I would go to her Philly apartment, and we didn't even go out. All we would have is sex. And one night, I thought all my dreams were coming true. Her girlfriend lays on the couch in the parlor. She was kind of chunky, like I like them, like a little fullback. And she says to me, Dom, Dom, baby, do you mind if my girl sleeps with us? And I said, yeah, as long as it's not really sleep. So she gets in bed. And we start making out, her and I. Making out like there was no tomorrow. Making out like that was a sex act itself. One thing led to another. But the worst of all possible things happened. My girlfriend got jealous. It wasn't like in Penthouse. It wasn't three-way sex. She was jealous and she threw me out. I had a dick that was like titanium. It was so hard. I had blue balls under blue balls. I was in my yellow Hornet. It was a beautiful AMC car. I couldn't take it anymore. I stopped at the first stop sign and I let her go. Oh, I beat Johnny behind the ear so bad. I came on the dashboard. And that is my story, sad but true. It was about a love that I once knew. Oh, yeah.
Wow, that was amazing. You came on the dashboard?
Yeah, I shot all over the dashboard. And there were cops. There were cops like at the other light, and I saw them looking at me. I'm thinking, I don't want to get pulled over for jerking off on myself. How sick is that?
License and register. Oh my goodness.
Never mind. Drive safely.
Yeah, have a nice day. Driving while masturbating. Driving while under the influence of
jizz.
Of jizz.
That was a true story.
Really? Wow.
And stop me if you heard this.
Stop me. Oh, so you were opening for the Impractical Jokers at the Greek Theater.
Yeah.
Crushing. And Dom was doing this amazing crowd work where he was doing bits and he was seamlessly going in and out of material. And there's this little kid in the front row.
Yeah.
After Dom says something filthy, he looks at the kid. He's like, "Stop me if you've heard this one."
Stop me if you heard this, you 9-year-old.
Yeah.
But it's funny with kids now because of computers and all the information available. They know so much more.
They really do.
I mean, they see it as soon as their parents walk out of the room. They put the porn on.
Yeah. Now, what do you think you get recognized the most for? Like now, is it Big Lebowski, or do you think it's something like Hey Arnold?
Well, Hey Arnold is the most popular thing. I mean, Seinfeld is obviously the most popular thing I've ever been in, and Big Lebowski, of course, is a movie. But Hey Arnold, for people your generation, hands down, it's amazing. I have a Hey Arnold hat on today, as a matter of fact.
Oh wow! Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah, but that I had no idea when we did it. We did it for 5 years. We knew it was special, but I had no idea it would be this big, this long after we were done recording it.
Did you have a favorite episode or favorite line that you said?
Yeah, I had an episode with Jennifer Tilly, the actress, and I was hooked on tall and lovely models, big girls, right? That was my whole thing, large and lovely. And I took this girl out. Ernie Potts was about a foot tall, and his nose went down past his waist. One of those characters, a cartoon character. Anyway, so I asked her out, and we have the greatest fucking time ever. We do everything. We go over. We're walking all over. We're eating. We're having laughs. And at the end of the night, I say to her, "So you want to go out again?" And she goes, "No, Ernie, I don't think so." I said, "What are you talking about? We had a great time." Because I bought her nuts. We played whack-a-mole. And I said, "We played whack-a-mole. I bought you nuts." She said, "It was the best time I ever had." I said, "Well, why won't you go out with me? Is it because and you hear like this orchestra in the background. I go, "Is it because I'm short?" Right? Like, dun, 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 like that was some heavy statement. And she goes, "No, it's not that." Anyway, finally he goes, "Give me back my nuts." He takes his nuts back. And then at the end, she ends up going out with him because they had such a good time. But it was like such a kind of cool morality play, about looks and versus loving somebody and having a good time.
Yeah.
And I think the thing about Hey Arnold was it had a heart to it,
Yeah, I mean, I loved that show growing up.
The guy that I used to talk in the booth next to me was Dan Castellaneta.
Yeah.
Castellaneta, the
guys who plays Homer Simpson.
Yeah. It was cool.
That's awesome. Well, Dom, that brings us to the end of the podcast. Thank you so much.
Thank you, my brother,
for doing the show. Is there anything that you want to plug coming up? You're at Dom Irrera on social media.
Yeah, I got in February. I'm doing the Tropicana in Atlantic City. It's a 2,000-seater, so please stop by. We got plenty of room.
Plenty of seats open for you.
Then I'm in March. I'm doing Stress Factory and the Black Box in Boca Raton. Stress Factory is it's where Rutgers is, New Brunswick, New Jersey. I love you, man. Good to see you.
Love you, man, dude. My wife and I love you, man. Everybody never has anything bad to say about Dom Irrera, and appreciate how much you're around the comedy community, man. How present you are. It's a pleasure, my friend.
It's a lot of fun, and anytime you want me to do that show of yours up there in the belly room, if you're still doing
stand up on the spot.
Love
Absolutely.
to do it,
yeah, would love to have you back on that, man.
All right, cool.
All right.
Take care, brother.
Thanks.
Jeremiah Wonders, Jeremiah Wonders, Jeremiah Wonders.